Canada is home to a lot of rats. Today, the pest control company Orkin released its ranking of the top 25 cities with the most rats. Toronto tops that list for the fourth year in a row, followed by Victoria in the number 2 spot. Vancouver takes number 3 and neighboring Burnaby in 4th place. Other places of note, well, Ottawa is in 8th spot. The only prairie city to rank is Winnipeg at number 13. Orkin bases its rankings on the number of residential and commercial rodent treatments that it carried out in each location. Now, my next guest has been looking into the surging rat populations. She calls herself a self-proclaimed rat detective. Kaylee Byers is an assistant professor at the School of Population and Public Health at the University of British Columbia, and she is also with the Vancouver Rat Project, which studies rat-associated health risks and ecology in the downtown east side. Kaylee, great to have you on the show tonight.
Thanks so much for having me.
So what do you make of the rankings that we're seeing? I mean, Toronto topping the list, but 4 of the 5 cities are in British Columbia, 3 of them in the Lower Mainland. We've got Victoria, but then we have Vancouver, and it goes from there. What do you make of the rankings based on what you know of rat populations?
Yeah, so I think Toronto's been number 1 for a while. Congratulations to you. These numbers are one indication of rat infestation, so where we're seeing rat populations. But these numbers are really based off of treatment. So where has Orkin gone in and done treatments for rats and mice? And so these numbers are also reflective more of where we're seeing pest management than necessarily where we see the most rats. So it's one source of data to study rat populations, but it's not the only one.
Based on your research since that goes back to 2013, why do you think Vancouver remained so high on the list?
Yeah, so again, it's sort of hard to know if whether or not what we're seeing is more rats or just more complaints about rats and more capacity, say, to pay pest control to come and manage those rats. There's plenty of people who will interact with rats and not necessarily call a pest control professional. But what do rats need to survive? They need access to food. Well, our dense urban spaces have restaurants, they've got backyard gardens, they've got fruit trees, lots of access for food for rats. They need water. Vancouver, that's plentiful. It is raining almost constantly. And then also a place for them to burrow. And Norway rats really just need a patch of soil to make a home. And roof rats, which spend their time up high, just, they're on our roofs, they're in our trees. And so there's lots of places here for rats to thrive. And in addition to that, we have an international shipping port, which gives opportunities for more rats to come in.
Okay, so those are a number of factors as to why it is where it is in terms of the number of rats. But the point you make, and I think it's a good one, that this is just really one criteria, the calls for pest control to determine, the number of rats that are in any of these cities. It's how complicated is it to actually measure the number, count the number of rats to determine the problem that exists in any of these urban situations?
Well, as someone who has tried to do this, I can tell you it's really hard, right? And the reason is we can't be all places at all times looking for signs of rats. Norway rats spend a lot of time underground, and then we're looking for evidence of rats like chew marks, or we call them sebum marks, these like little oily marks that they leave. I'm sure you'll never look at an oily mark underneath a door the same way again. So it's hard to be all places to look for signs of rats. What a lot of cities do use is they use programs like 311 where you can report rat sightings to the city, and that's another really great data source. But similar to having this issue with calls to, say, pest control, where it's people who are actually engaging someone to come manage their rats, with 311, many people are never going to call a rat. I've certainly seen many a rat at my time and never called 311, right? And so these data sources are important. They're sort of our best data to track rat infestations over time in our cities, but they're really incomplete and they don't give us the full picture.
I mean, I should probably know this. We probably all should know. I don't like the idea of rats, but I don't really understand maybe completely why it's a problem, as you point out. So, why, and you're calling them Norway rats. So why is, a ballooning population of Norway rats a detrimental or a problem to a city?
Yeah, that's a great question. So here in Canada, we do have 2 species. We've got Norway rats, also called brown rats or sewer rats. And roof rats, which are also called black rats, they tend to spend their time up high. So why are rats a problem? Well, why do we manage them at all? And that's usually because of the harms associated with them. They do carry a number of diseases that can make people sick. One that we study here is called leptospirosis. It's shed in rat urine, and it can give people a flu-like illness. They can also cause mental health impacts from living alongside them, right? Feelings of fear, anxiety, helplessness. In addition to that, they can also cause infrastructural damage, right? They can chew through wires. I can tell you, maybe I'm okay with 50 rats running around my block, but I don't want a single one on my plane. And then there's also aspects of food contamination. So it's not necessarily the rat themselves, but the harms associated with rats. And that's really important when we're thinking about how we're managing them. How do we manage the thing we're actually concerned about, which is the harm, without just focusing on getting rid of the rat?
Kaylee Byers is an assistant professor at the School of Population and Public Health at the University of British Columbia and a rat detective. Kaylee, thank you.
Thank you.